Thursday, everybody. I hope you're doing well. My name is Crystal from Legato Yoga, and this is episode 2 of Pause for Posture. We are talking today about our tree pose, and we'll talk about a few key elements here to really help you refine and find some strength and confidence in this pose. So the first thing right away I want to start to talk about are the four corners of our feet. We have 2 points here, one at the base of the big toe, the base of the pinky toe, and then in our heel, we have 2 on the edges. This is important to remember for a lot of our yoga postures, and especially when we're balancing. We need to make sure that we keep equal weight in these 4 corners, and that may mean a shift of our muscles, whether we internally rotate or externally rotate. That's a whole other episode, but focusing on the 4 corners of the feet. So that's the first thing we're going to talk about today. So when you balance, we really want to focus on rooting down and rising up. So starting on our right side today, I'll demo both sides because we have to keep everything equal. I'm going to find that root first before I do anything else. And then the second thing that we'll discuss now is our knees. Okay, when we lock our legs and our knees, we have the potential to do some pretty big damage here. So we want to be careful. I always like to encourage folks to take a good micro bend in the knee. It might feel weird at first, especially if you're used to locking that knee and sort of feeling that hyperextension in the back. But it really helps keep us safe when our knee has a gentle bend in it. And so in most of my asanas, my postures, I really prefer to go ahead and have that bend. And then the third thing I want to talk about is strength through the hips and the low belly. So often, especially if you take class with me, you'll hear me encourage you to pull your navel up and in. And this isn't so that we suck in. This is so that we engage in the lowest part of our abdominal muscles here. And we lift up, feeling the whole front abdominal wall work, not just sort of our mid-abs or our vanity muscles, if you will. And I promise they're there, even if you think that they're not. All right, so let's kind of go through the tree pose now on both sides here with those cues. And, you know, if you're live here with me, great. And if not, I'll repost this, and you can certainly do this on your own. So here we go, starting on the right side. Now, for most beginning tree goers, I like to encourage you to keep your toes on the earth. Okay, so your toes are on the earth and your heel is at your ankle. All right, this is where I like folks to start so they can actually feel that opening of the hips, the bending of the knee, and the grounding through the 4 corners. Now your toes are on the mat, but they're light. We're not digging holes in the earth. Okay, so this is where I like to start, and then of course once our legs are planted, we grow our branches. Now our drishti, our focal point, can be directly in front of us, or sometimes taking a soft gaze down to the ground when we're beginning to balance can be really helpful. So stage 2 of this then would be taking the heel up below the knee joint. Okay, so we don't want it at the knee joint, we don't want it here, that's dangerous, we could really hurt ourselves. All right, so we want to always keep the heel below the knee joint, so I have a micro bend here, I'm rooting through the 4 corners, and I'm finding my heel right below the knee joint. So again, once I feel grounded through those 4 corners, I find my focal point and I lift up. And again, I do find it easier at times to take a gaze down to the ground. And I'm really engaging now through that low belly. I have to, otherwise I just sort of slump and I start to wobble everywhere. All right, so then the third stage of our tree is bringing this heel up to the upper inner thigh. Okay, now this is a very difficult thing to do, and especially if you're not practiced at it, because you do have to root your heel into the thigh here, but also engage through your legs. So you're pressing equally in the heel and in the thigh. All right, so when you bring it up here, really anchor down through those 4 corners of the feet and find your drishti. Open hips here, engage low belly. And then, of course, when you're ready, growing your branches. Slowly coming out of that, come back down. I always like to give a good shake out once we're finished with that. So let's go ahead over to the other side. So remember, 4 corners of the feet, Micro bend at the knee and engaging through the low belly and navel. Phase 1, getting used to this opening of the hips, keeping the big toes on the ground, feeling everything work, and grow your branches. Phase 2, bringing the heel up just below the knee joint, opening up here first, feeling your root to rise, low belly, and then lifting up your branches. And then finally, bringing the heel all the way up to that upper inner thigh, feeling the pressure between the two so they're working together here, finding your focal point, and lifting up. And then slowly come down when you're finished. Great, so that's our review today of tree pose. Please feel free to DM me, message me, however you want to get a hold of me anytime to ask questions about this or other yoga asanas. And I will see you guys again next week. Have a good one.